This is Drop Tent Media Network.
Late Bloomers with comedians Karen Schwartz and Sandra Doss. Hello, friends. Welcome to the fourth episode of the Late Bloomers podcast, starring comedians Karen Schwartz.
Hi.
And myself, Sandra Doss. I hope you guys are well. We're doing very well here. And why don't you introduce the subject for this podcast, Karen?
Yes. So thank you, Sandra. We were talking about, as late bloomers, people who have come to realize and begin chasing a passion later in life. Yeah. We were having a conversation about what we know now as in that pursuit, chasing the goals, versus who we were as our younger selves. And, how even though now is later, now for me, at least I'm speaking for myself, I know now is definitely the right time, because I feel, we were discussing the ways we feel wiser and just, better prepared, really better prepared in so many ways to not just be successful at what we're chasing, but also just letting ourselves enjoy it.
Right.
There's a certain something that kind of happens with time that I know I didn't possess when I was younger. So I guess it's the benefits of being a late bloomer was kind of where my head is with the topic today.
There are advantages.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. On the one hand, so we started later.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, we've had so many more experiences and insights, and also the way we process everything, the way we learn all the moving parts that come with comedy, which is a pursuit that we started later.
Yes.
Our passion that we both share. And how I think a lot of what I have learned, what feeds my comedy, I probably wouldn't have appreciated or made good use of when I was younger. And so, it's like an MBA. Many times, I think about it because it's usually better if you go and work for a while before you do an MBA than if you go straight from college to an MBA, because you need to have some work experience.
Right. Something to connect it to.
Yeah. And comedy is definitely something that requires living life. You have to have experience. You have to draw from your experiences, whether they're, common everyday things or unique things that have happened to you. And of course, everything through your own filter, because every individual is unique. But it's so much better, I think, in some ways. So what other things you think are also better now?
I feel like, well, just to kind of piggyback off of what you just shared, I was thinking, my high school art teacher, who was always a very influential person in my life, Claude Falcone. He always said that everything that is part of life is part of art. And that definitely is a comment to comedy. I mean, comedy is just simply that ability to look at life and see the funny in it or the absurd, and, know what to make fun of, what to laugh about. And I know my younger self was, I was a very worried I was very anxious. I was always really worried. I was very serious. Everything felt like it was really important. And, everything felt like it was so important. And I took everything so seriously to the point where I know I missed out on the joy in a lot of it, even when things were really going well. I know I even missed the happy part of it because I was just so focused on, okay, this is really important. I have to be perfect at this. I have to do this. I have to. And, now now with just time and experience and Lexapro for my anxiety, I'm not going to lie, definitely makes a lot of things better for me. Yeah, now I can kind of just watch things happen around me and be able to sit back and like, yeah, just kind of take it in. And I process things so differently now. It's where I can glean that enjoyment of it. Like I'm not as in it and anxious and,
Yeah, we can be. I agree. For me, it's I can say that it's true as well. I'm more in the moment now because I was so stressed working.
Oh yeah,
and I knew it was great, and I was like, man, I have some ideas now about things I could have done back then. Of course, that moment passed.
Yeah,
but I'm like, okay, maybe I can turn it into comedy. Maybe not. But yeah, I was not in the moment. I was not in the moment.
I wasn't.
It's true. Now for me, it's easier to be in the moment, to process things differently. And we were talking about being more patient now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
In general.
I mean, it's funny. I feel like even in my role at my day job at the school where I teach, I know when I was a younger teacher, I, again, was very anxious and everything had to be perfect. And I was really uptight around the kids. And, over time, you realize, just like even like the way I feel like I was an anxious mother with my own children when they were younger. I reached a place in life though where I can sit back and I look and my kids are grown up and they're awesome. Like they're awesome. They're fine. Like they're great.
Yeah.
And I think, oh, okay, I can breathe. Okay, cool. Like they turned out awesome. I can calm down, and then I look at school and I think, oh my gosh, these are elementary kids. They're gonna do goofy stuff every day. And now as things are happening, I don't get as worked up about it. I've become more like the grandmom where I can just sit back and I'm like, oh, isn't that funny? Like I can see what's funny about it. As long as nobody's getting hurt or nothing horrible is happening. I need to preface it by saying that. Yeah. I can find the funny in things and just enjoy even the chaos. Yeah. Chaos doesn't upset me anymore. I can just roll with it. And I think, okay, this is going to make a funny story later, I look at everything.
Look at chaos as material. This is going to be material.
Yeah.
And that's part of the being patient, I think, also. It's like, okay, this is not turning out the way I expected it to turn out, but this is going to make a funny story later. And, I can use it on stage or whatever.
Right.
Also, we know how to plan better.
True.
And True. If for some reason things are not turning out well, we have a plan B or a plan
100%.
C.
We're flexible on the fly.
Yeah.
Right? We've had things happen before. Yeah. Like we have more experiences of like something not going your way and having to kind of pivot and like we're steering to the skid and like you just do something different. But like where my younger self would have been like, I was more rigid. More rigid because I was writing out that lesson plan and like everything you did. I was very logical, sequential. Like first A happens and then B and then C. And when real life teaches you that that's not real life, and you learn to pivot, you learn to become more flexible. Yeah. Something, and I'm not black and white about good or bad anymore either. Like I don't walk away from something and say, oh, that was really bad. Like I can find something good that came out of something where I know my younger self would have felt very defeated, very shut down. And like if I felt like I wasn't successful at something, like I recover better from failure. Yeah. I definitely recover better from failure. I find funny in it. Yeah. I work with it.
Well, now we know that success has more than one definition.
Well, yeah.
And that's the thing. For what's success for somebody may not be for somebody else. And you have to know what is success for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I feel like...
And it changes. I think it changes.
Well, I feel like I've learned how to... I guess the term I'm looking for is like, I feel like I've learned how to reframe.
Right.
Maybe even the exact same life experience. I've reframed it. Like I've, from time, experience, knowing more people, having more just associations to, like just knowing more. I can see more universality in things, more commonality in things. Like I don't know. I just feel like
Yeah, we become more flexible too.
100%.
Yeah. Well, also I have to say that in this world of comedy, you meet all kinds of people.
Oh yeah.
And
That's like my favorite thing about it, honestly. I feel like my understanding of just being a human in general has really broadened because I've met so many different people from
of different ages,
everywhere,
and
different ages
walks of
from
life.
all walks of life, all different parts of the world.
Exactly.
And they're all funny in the way that they look at life.
Yeah.
And some of those conversations, like the time before an open mic where we're all just chatting and getting caught up with each other.
Right.
That's actually my most favorite part of the night.
Yeah, the hang can be.
Oh, 100%. The hang. Yeah, the hang before and after where we're all just like, just being funny, talking about like our regular life stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or sometimes they ask you for advice, which is cute.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't know.
I have been hit up by younger comics for relationship advice.
Fingal, so she's also had
Oh
that.
wait, you're a woman. You're around my mom's age. What do you think I should do about about a girlfriend thing? And I'm like, wow, all right, let's go. Let's talk about this.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Or sometimes they even kind of, I don't know, ask you out and stuff like that. I mean, that has happened.
Okay.
And you're like, oh well, this young person, or in my case, well, I'm married, but it's not. People may not know, and a couple of times also I notice that someone may be trying to, but the moment, they find out I'm married, it changes, but it's kind of flattering. And also younger female comedians have asked me for advice, and I don't even realize at the time, she's asking me for some advice here on this.
Yeah.
Because she sees that I have more experience, and I am not her mom.
Right.
And I think, okay, well,
I mean,
okay, sure.
You're a lawyer and you're in a successful marriage. I would ask you for advice. I mean, I'm divorced. I'm 49. I'm single and I live in Spring City. When anyone younger than me asks me for advice, I'm like, what's your goal? Like, what are you trying? Are you trying to turn out like all this? Or, it cracks me up when I'm like, I'm flattered. I'm flattered when they want advice. I'm like, well, what, where?
You're a successful professional. You're funny.
I mean, and I am happy with my life. I'm not going to lie. I am happy with my life.
Ups and downs.
Yeah.
Marriages take two people.
Yeah.
And,
I know.
And it's, nobody has a crystal ball. You never know. A lot of it is luck, I guess. You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. And we've lived, we've had.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we look like we have our shit together.
Well, I mean, I wore colors to match the studio today. I mean, I really feel like
we're very nautical people.
And we're both wearing stripes, and we didn't even discuss that.
No, we think a lot. Yeah,
well, that's just how good we are.
We felt nautical today. I don't know.
There you go.
I don't know, and I do like stripes.
Yeah,
I feel good in stripes.
Good for you. Same.
Yeah,
same.
Feel good in stripes. So you see, and we also digress. Suddenly we are in stripes, and that's also part of of being a little more mature. You realize that the stripes that they told you to never wear because they make you look fatter. If you like them, God damn it, wear them.
I wear them to make my arms look more buff.
Well, I don't know. I know where my arms are. They're useful. They look better, and they will look better. I promise. I'm drinking kombucha. So I'm doing something.
Yeah. Right.
And I like to say the word kombucha.
We're just saying kombucha.
So I'll say it repeatedly during this episode and many others. I used to have a word of the month, and this is something that for a while my coworkers, hated because, they found annoying. Too bad. Mm-hmm. I remember 1 month the word was venison.
Okay.
And I tried to work that word into every conversation.
The word for deer meat.
Yes.
Venison. Okay.
And that's sometimes it's not easy. Mm-hmm. And I tried my best.
Yeah.
Yeah, to do it. And people knew that I was doing it sometimes, and they were like, "Oh no, don't do it now."
Right.
Don't. And I couldn't resist it.
So, like, what was your goal with like the new? So, how often did you work in the new word? Like
it was a month.
Every month.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a month.
Now, was this like, was the goal just to broaden your vocabulary?
It was just a game, like a little
Just
game I had. Yeah.
Just a mind. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess to broaden, it was a new word. I was
Right.
like, what? It's not a pleasant word because I don't want to think of Bambi, Bambi meat,
No.
getting killed. But at least if that happens, well, if somebody eats it, at least.
But you
it's
found
not
yourself
in vain.
just having to
There you
drop
go.
like venison into the conversation.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, I did it just now.
You
It was
did.
not even the
You
word
totally
of the
did.
month, and I did it.
Seamlessly.
Yeah.
See, I haven't done that. I haven't done the trying the new word and trying to work it into conversation. I have a more like bifurcated approach to broadening my vocabulary.
Really. It's more like having a dictionary.
It's more.
next to
It's
it.
like more of a like when you bifurcate something. You know.
Okay. You can bifurcate venison.
You can
cut
bifurcate.
It, you can cut it in that way. Yeah. You can take a fork off on the road.
You can do that.
and then
You can
use
do that.
fork to eat what? Venison. That's
Venison,
what
there
you're
you go.
gonna do.
There you go.
Yes. Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah. I raised my voice here. I got excited.
That's
I don't know if that was fine.
That's fine.
Producer, was that okay? Oh, that's
good,
okay.
we're
Yes.
good.
Okay. Well, let's just knock ourselves
Right.
out. Okay. So
So my
yeah,
younger self didn't eat venison. Didn't know what bifurcated meant.
No, I tried it once
Yeah.
because he's still living. I think he's in his 90s, but he's still living. And an uncle that, well, he married to an aunt, but an
Yeah.
uncle. He likes hunting. And so once he brought some deer meat and there was like a barbecue, but he brought something that he hunted. And so I tried it then, and I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. I was thinking about the
Yeah.
Bambi, but frankly, the gaminess of the whole thing. Yeah. Yeah. And so I've never tried it again. But yeah, I've tried it.
Yeah.
I've tried it. Yeah. I don't know. My guess is that must be lean, I guess. I don't know.
Imagine.
I mean, that's something that when I tried it, I was more like a kid.
Yeah.
And they didn't tell me
Yeah.
that it was where it came from.
I had it snuck into one of my meals too. And you ever have that experience where you're eating something and the person's just kind of watching you, like,
Yeah.
and they're like, how are the meatballs? Like,
Oh my
they're good.
gosh.
Oh, they're good.
Yeah.
They're venison, and you're like, oh, you mean like a deer? Oh yeah. Oh, but you liked them, right? But you liked them, and I'm like, what is this game? Like, you can't do that with any other food.
Yeah.
Where like you sneak a replacement, and then watch them eat it and be like, oh, wait till I tell them what was really in the food. Like, but I feel like that's like the big game people play with venison meat.
You can do it in a smoothie. Oh yeah. You can put things that you.
Oh, you can put things in a smoothie. For a second, I was like,
and you can put venison in a smoothie too. You can.
I feel like the kombucha tasted like a venison smoothie.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, yeah. I've had weird
That was
meat that I didn't know I was having. Yeah,
my thing.
like yeah.
Okay.
Like I tried iguana, and people didn't tell me until after.
What did you think you were eating?
Chicken.
Okay.
It does taste like chicken.
Okay.
Well, the way it was cooked,
Yeah.
it was quite good actually. Yeah. And Rocky Mountain oysters. Also.
I do know what those are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But see, I couldn't do that. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess being a lawyer, I would be afraid that people would have some reaction and then it's my fault, Like I wouldn't give people anything without telling them.
Right.
what
Well,
they're
yeah.
having,
No, you can't get away with that.
Yeah. I would
No.
be like, do you want to put venison in the blender and see what happens? And
Right.
if the people say no, then I just wouldn't do. No, I wouldn't do it for myself either. No.
Yeah.
But I knew someone when I was very fit. I knew someone who was into bodybuilding, a fellow lady bodybuilder. Well, I was not a bodybuilder, but I was very interested, and I was about to, do it. But anyway,
Yeah.
but she was really into it, and I remember that she said that she liked efficiency, so she would put stuff in the blender and have it as a smoothie,
Yeah.
because that way she could get in more protein.
liquefied it.
Oh my goodness, yes. And she would put like canned tuna in a blender with other things, and she would totally be like, with her long nails and her
Drinking a tuna drink?
or chicken or stuff,
Oh.
yeah.
Was it like a
You know,
soup?
a very cute thing. I guess so. I guess, I guess she would think,
Yeah.
well, if people eat gazpacho, I don't know,
Yeah.
it's a cold, no, but that's vegetables. I mean, very different.
Yeah.
Everything was cooked, of course,
Okay.
but it was just cold and in that form.
And in a liquefied form.
Yeah. So, and, and I'm sure that their younger selves wouldn't have eaten that, but their older selves are like,
It sounds very sad. It sounds like it sounds,
Yeah.
it sounds like when the hospital tells you need to go to like a soft diet or whatever. It just
Yeah.
doesn't sound appetizing.
Yeah, just put me on an IV or whatever,
Yeah.
like feed me through
That sounds like very depressing.
whatever. Yeah.
I feel like chewing is a lot of the enjoyment of food.
Yeah.
You're just, I don't know. That sounds
Yeah.
kind of gross. Yeah.
That's true. That is true. Yeah.
You
So
know, food's meant to be enjoyed. I also learned that food is meant to be enjoyed.
It is meant to be enjoyed.
I used to just eat whatever, like just whatever, quick, random, whatever, just to not be hungry. But now that I'm older, I really do enjoy like the joy of like a really good meal. Like I take food way more seriously. Like when I cook, I take more care with my food. If I go out to eat, I used to just go and get like the salad, like wherever I went.
yeah.
And now I'll go to a restaurant and think, I'm not going to waste this experience on like their salad. And no offense to any restaurant salads, but
Right.
like, that's not the most like unique prep on the menu. That's not like
Yeah.
the thing people go rushing there to go try. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, when I go somewhere, I want to try the thing that like they're best known for.
Right.
Like I make more of like experiences now.
Yeah.
Like I
Well,
know
you're
to
more
I
mindful.
know to go after those experiences.
You're
if
more
that makes sense.
Yeah, we're more mindful of
Well,
several
yeah.
the
100%.
different aspects of a restaurant experience. You're paying for an experience, also for expertly made stuff that
yeah.
maybe you don't know how to cook or that
Right.
you don't cook as well, and they do it really well. So it's worth ordering that.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, I always think that.
Yeah.
Is this something that I could make myself? And if so, how much work would it take for me, to make it for two people?
Like I get a kick out of ordering something that I know I would never want to have to make myself.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Like that's the stuff I
Yeah.
really appreciate the most.
Or something that at least that's what I'm, that's what I think now. And by now, I mean, starting in 2024. If it's something that I like too much, and if I make myself, I'm likely to eat the whole thing. I would rather have it at a restaurant because they give you just a slice or one
That's a good point,
particular portion, and that's it.
Yep.
No temptation. But if I make it, even if I make it myself, if I really, really like it, then that's danger. So I'm not gonna. Yeah, I would rather pay a little more and have it at a restaurant where they make it well, and that's
That's a
the
good
thing.
point.
And so I've told my husband he's doing that too because he's a very talented cook. He really likes cooking. But sometimes if there's too much left over, oh no, you can't. I cannot know that is in the refrigerator.
Right.
Same for him. We have because it's tempting. It's yummy. So we make sure that we have a lot of people that.
Yeah,
things
that's
can
when I
just
enjoy
be-
cooking. I enjoy cooking
Yeah.
if I'm entertaining, like if I'm hosting something.
Yeah.
Then I really get into it more so than I do if it's like just for me.
Yeah, it's true. My younger self would not even.
No.
I would. Yeah, wouldn't think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm even like, just because now that my kids are out of the house, like even when I go to the grocery store, I'm very basic with the stuff I buy to keep around the house because like, I know when I go out, like I'll order the sandwich that has 10 things on it because I'm not going to buy all 10 of those things for my refrigerator at home. You know what I mean? Like that wouldn't make sense. Do you know what I mean? So I just, I don't know. I'm just saying like, I just, anyway, I don't know if I'm making sense, but I try to chase down those things that are like unique to the place where I am. Like,
Yeah.
even if it's just that they make like the best like BLT or
Yeah.
best mac and cheese or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
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 I think it's a good idea. It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Because some people are very good at self-discipline, and they say, okay, this is I'm gonna eat this mutton, not me. It's too tasty. Too tasty. It has to be good, but not that tasty. Yeah. It's just because we're wiser,
There you go.
We're wiser. We know ourselves a little better.
I've brought home leftovers before, to your point. I've brought home leftovers from a restaurant where I had trouble sleeping knowing that food was still in the house because I was like still thinking about it. I was like, that was so good. Like I wanted to get back. I was like, would it be weird to get back out of bed and eat that? Like, like I have literally gotten back out of bed.
Then it's gone, and it's not like you have a...
Yeah, because if it's something so good that you don't normally have around, like, it's fine.
But then you don't have so much of it.
Right.
Or you're not going to have it every day.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's it's a thing. The thing is that when you're younger, it doesn't have the same effects. So you don't think about it because your metabolism is on fire.
Oh my gosh.
So,
well, especially when I was anxious, when I had anxiety, like, and I just kind of always had like a little bit of a constant, like a tremor with it.
Oh, really?
I must have been burning a lot of calories because, now that I don't have that anymore.
Excuse me, I sneezed.
I can eat salads. I can go to the gym and like for hours and like be so careful. And it's difficult. Like I don't have the body I had back when I was just anxious all the time. And I'm not saying I want to go back to that. I'm not saying that was awesome or anything. But apparently that was the only big difference in my lifestyle was between not being anxious versus being anxious. Apparently being anxious.
That's a big deal.
Even though I wasn't, it stole my joy to be anxious. Let me tell you that.
Yeah.
But being worried and that, all that definitely, I think, it kept the weight off.
Well,
right now, and I don't miss it.
It's a side effect that maybe
I'd rather
visually
I'd rather go to the gym and
appealing, but it's not good for you for your health.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Well, I have some anxiety. As you know, I'm an insomniac, and that's a form of anxiety. The only thing is that it's unrecognized because I don't know exactly what is causing it. So I have to keep a diary. And it's so annoying, but I guess I have to do it because I have done everything else.
No, do you keep this like on your bedside table?
Kinda.
Like, is this like when you can't sleep? Are you supposed to write your thoughts out, or
no? It's more to remember how my night, what the sleep, the process of sleeping, how much I slept.
are you just documenting sleep times, or?
That too, but also what I was feeling when when I went to bed and what I think was causing the problem and whatever. What I ate, because that may have had an impact, or what I drank, that sort of thing, or how much caffeine I had. Like this is what's happening when we're getting older. I remember my grandma used to say, I registered it because as a kid, I thought this is funny. And anything that has to do with poop is funny.
Oh, yeah.
No matter how old you are. But as a kid, it's even funnier. And my grandma would go places with her best friend. And she said, I don't know why she always has to wait until she poops to leave the house. And I was like, I thought it was hilarious, and also that my grandma knew, and now we all knew, because my grandma told us.
Nobody was leaving until
And so the next time I saw that lady, I never forgot. She was a lady that had to poop before leaving the house.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's weird. But then I realized that a lot of people are like that. And they're not in their 80s.
Or they're just like rigid about that part of their routine, you mean?
Somehow that's like a big thing. Either because they don't, I don't know. It's, it's like they know when things are going to start moving there after coffee or whatever. And they're not that old. But I guess that's the thing. When you're young, most people when they're young, a young body and a young, system does not really work that way. So it's like you can't imagine that would ever happen. But then when you get older and you have friends that have that situation, I'm like, you know, or you hear yourself, you know, saying things, and you're not as flexible. But all this is just, you know, part of life. It's fine. It comes with the wisdom, you know, and also the getting older in many ways. But I've heard people in their 30s say that kind of thing, and I'm like, what? No, it's kind of, I don't know. It must be like a ritual of that person. I don't know.
Where that's just their routine.
Or an anxiety, you know,
Maybe.
sometimes, you know.
Maybe.
Some sort of anxiety or something along those lines. I remember when I realized that this insomnia was anxiety, you know, because I was like, really? Yeah, because it comes in many forms, and, you know, and I'm very tense. I tend to be very tense.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very, very tense.
Okay, I haven't picked up on that with you.
Yeah. Well, you know, because it's weird if I was talking about that, but I'm always very tense. Takes me a little bit of time to get settled sometimes.
Yeah.
And and I have my, you know, my OCDs, you know. Certain things have to be just so. My kid is like that too. Yeah. He's kind of like that too. But in a good way, as far as I've been able to tell. Like he makes his bed every morning. And I never insisted. And I never said, make your bed. I mean, you know, I told him, but I was not the kind of mom that was like, no, you can't leave the house until you make your bed. No.
I'm neater now than when I was a kid. So to know of like a young person that's making their bed, I'm very impressed. Because I'll tell you what, when I was younger, I didn't see the point of making your bed. I was that kid that was like, I'm going to get back in it later anyway. Like I really didn't see the point. Yeah. And now I just feel a sense of accomplishment if you know, if I just like make the bed. I'm like, okay, cool, when I get home from work and I see this later, I'm gonna be glad I did this. Like, this is gonna look good. I keep a neater house than I ever did. I take joy in things being clean.
Well, it gives you a sense of control also, that things are,
but like, I don't know
working
if it's
well.
Pride for where I live, or
that could be
just the peace of feeling like everything has its place. Like, I'm not sure, but I used to be way more comfortable with clutter and things just being wherever or whatever. And the older I get, I'm like, no, like I need everything to I want everything to look good, you know, and it feels good. Yeah. I don't know.
I remember years ago, I read that, you know, making your bed in the morning kind of determines how your day is going to go to a great extent. And I never forgot about that. And so I'm like, okay, so I believed it, and I started doing it, and I guess it's true. Yeah. I guess it's true. But my kid makes his bed really, really diligently, and he's very neat. And so sometimes it takes me a little bit longer to make my bed. I'm like, oh no, shit, I better make it. I better make my bed. You know, what kind of example? What's he gonna say? What's my kid gonna say? So yeah, and I think it's more because he just likes things to be straight and neat and all that, and that's just how he is. Yeah, you know. So that's a good thing, you know. Not excessively, but
yeah. No, there's a lot that happens in our day that like you really can't control, right?
Yeah, I have to say that his young self, you know, his old self is going to think, oh, I did things right. Yeah, my young self is going to.
But sometimes I think though, just that idea of like controlling those little things that you can, it just kind of fills your bucket for that stuff that happens in your day where you can't. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, because we all have that stuff that's thrown our way.
It fills your bucket.
You're just kind of like, all right, I have myself together. Yeah. These are the things I did today where I feel like I have it together. So this one thing happened I didn't expect, and this really threw me off. But you know, at the end of the day, like, I still make my bed. I did something right today.
Bags that I was supposed to take to Goodwill, and these plastic bags for recycling in my car, and it looks like I'm a nomad.
Like my car, my bed, like the car that I drove us here in today. Thank you. Yeah, it does look like you just described my car.
My car.
You just described my car.
Yeah. Also, little bottles of Starbucks cold coffee. That's not my doing, but okay. You know, that's not my. I'm throwing my husband under the bus. Yeah, just leaves a bottle there.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to be my younger self. I would say I was more sensitive. Like my feelings would get hurt very easily. And I would decide someone didn't like me. If like, oh yeah, if we had any kind of interaction where I just wasn't sure if it went, like a positive way, or if there were a couple people who got together socially and I wasn't like included, I'd be like, nobody likes me. Like I would really, stuff would get in my head about like categorizing that person with like me feeling uncomfortable around them now. And now I'm like now I feel like the older I've gotten, my skin got thicker. My skin got thicker, which I think that is such a good for me. I needed a thicker skin. I mean, I'm sure there's young people out there who already have a thick skin, but mine wasn't. So for me to get there later, I really feel like that's kind of like how I can go into battle. Like, and when I want to go for something or put myself out there on stage, and maybe I'm gonna bomb, or maybe
Or you'll find a heckler,
right,
or
exactly, like dealing with like an audience member. I don't get shut down anymore.
Yeah.
By those same things that used to shut me down. I don't get shut. I used to though. Like I used to just cower, and like now now I know how to take so I feel like that's a definitely like something really good for me that came with age.
Yeah.
I'm so much better at that.
Yeah.
I actually, you know what I mean? I actually almost look forward to it because I feel good about my ability to handle that now.
Yeah, I think
not that you want it, but you know what I'm saying? Like but it is something, something that came with time that I feel good about.
Yeah, maybe in my case a little bit too.
Yeah.
That thing is that being a teenage girl is kind of,
that's the worst time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, there's nothing worse in life.
But
you know what? The two worst things in life are like being a teenage girl and then raising your teenage girl and just seeing how the world is treating your teenage girl. And you're like, oh my God. Like, cause you're like, I'm sorry, I couldn't have kept this from happening to you. Like, it's just, it's tough. It's no good, but then you get through it.
Girls,
But then you get through it. Yeah, you get through it.
Yeah, I got, I have a boy, and so, boys are not, they don't communicate as much or not in that much detail. And so, it's, I think I had it a little easier. And also, fortunately, my kid was kind of more nerdy than anything. So, he was into things that I had no idea about. The video games and the interwebs. No, no, things that I was like, I don't know, And so boys are easier.
Are they?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. But ever since, since I realized that I had a boy, I thought, oh my God, at least I'm being eased into this. Because, of course, I didn't know that I would only have one at the time. But, I ended up with one. But my first, my son, and I said, good, at least I get to learn this motherhood here without that many nooks and crannies. I was dreading I knew I was going to have a boy, but I thought, imagine changing the diaper of a baby girl. Girls have so many parts. I mean, the nooks and crannies, cleaning all that. With boys, it's easy.
Yeah, get in there. Yeah. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot for boys. It's easy. Yeah. It's really easy. Yeah. And also the dressing, I picked his clothes for the longest time.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of boys actually start caring about all that. At some point, like when they're in middle school, maybe.
Yeah, like about their appearance and stuff. I think for girls too. I think it's just that
for girls, it's younger. They
maybe
start,
younger,
having
maybe
their
younger.
own opinions about that.
Yeah,
but for my kid, it was very on the late side. He didn't care. He's like, okay, yeah, I think that looks good.
I feel like, at least like around my school, like my students are super young, so they're not dressing to attract anybody's attention because they're too young for that developmentally. But I do see them taking joy in like costume outfits. Like they crack me up with like the princess dresses and the oh my gosh, the on pajama day with like all the characters on the footy
Oh, I
pajamas.
love
Oh,
that.
they crack me up
I
because like
love that.
you can tell that they really feel by wearing like that superhero on their pajamas that like
Yeah.
now they've become that,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's cute. Right?
Yeah, it's like they have their preferences, but it's a little different. It's like it has to have a certain character, a certain whatever superhero, and but it doesn't matter how it looks. It just has to have that sometimes. Yeah.
And now, like, it's funny, like at the age that I'm now, like when I look at the kids coming to school wearing even something completely ridiculous and technically inappropriate for school, like because it's a costume or pajamas or whatever. I'll just be like, oh, that is so cute. Like, I just look at it like, no, like, oh, gee, like to be that age again. And, like, I feel like how like a grandmom just is there for kisses and cookies and just doesn't care. Like, there's not going to be any kind of like enforcement of rules or expectations.
Right.
I'm not saying I don't have any, I'm not saying I'm without expectations or safety expectations, things like that. But, I definitely enjoy just being silly with people in general now.
Yeah.
Like, I just, why not make every time you interact with somebody fun? You know what I mean? Like, I don't see any point to being super serious. Like,
having as many pajama days as possible if you can.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've even, oh my gosh, like, I mean, my boss is a wonderful person and like never gave me a reason to feel like he's not approachable or like I couldn't just be myself. But I've even this past year that he knows that I'm working on the side as a comic and he's very supportive of that. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be funny in conversation with him now because like I used to very deliberately make sure I was only serious in the way I communicated with him at work. And I would save the jokes just for like people on my level, like people who are equal with me and not are superior. But I've loosened up and even started cracking jokes with it. I'm like, okay, I'm careful with the jokes with everybody at the workplace because as one needs to be.
Yeah.
But I'm happier. I'm happier when I am just enjoying those times with people where we're all laughing. You know what I mean? I'm just, I know that I'm happier.
Right.
And I just used to be, like I said, just so caught up on things having to be like perfect or I don't know. I was just really in my head a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a lot of pressure on myself.
Yeah. Well, you've been doing it you've been in the same field for.
I have.
I
have.
So it's fun now. You can.
No, I've had
enjoy it.
My main job for 25 years. Maybe it just takes 25 years to calm down and be cool and be happy. I don't know. But I definitely know that earlier in my teaching career, I wouldn't have had the courage or the capacity to have tried balancing being a comic at the same time.
Yeah.
There's no way I would.
Well, I just wouldn't have had any time to do it. Because I would have been exhausted. A lot of stand-up comedy, if not most of it, above 90% happens at night.
That's
and on the later side also. And so if you have a day job, depending on what you do, it really takes a lot of your stamina, a lot of your energy and mental energy as well. In my case, it would have been, writing and thinking it, that's just drains me.
We were talking about even just simply being tired. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because you work all day.
And then you have a family, you have your other obligations
well, you have
of life.
People in your life that you need to show up for. You got to be there for the people in your life. And then, then
Can we take a break? I need to call.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And,
Do you want to talk about like knowing the value of time?
yes. Yeah.
And like...
Yeah,
and
like now we can say no to a lot of things,
right? Because we have built a life that we have to keep in balance.
Yeah,
before we didn't have that
ourselves,
right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, there you go. Okay.
Another thing that I think we both have learned is that we don't have to overextend ourselves. We can say no to
Yes.
certain things.
Yes.
Because, quantity is not better than quality. You're going to put too much stress on yourself, on your health. And you don't have to say yes to everything.
That's such a good point, because I think my younger, anxious self would have felt like I had to say yes to
Me too.
everything, because if I don't say yes, they're not going to like me. Or, I need to go do that, or I'll never become successful if I turn down, driving to a gig that's 6 hours away for like an 8-minute spot and then driving home that night. I know my younger self would have felt just so compelled to have to do everything, because that's the only right way.
Yeah.
And like now that we have these lives that we've built for ourselves and families, and day jobs and, other responsibilities.
Well, and the wisdom just of
and the
being,
wisdom. Yeah. The wisdom of,
of what we know now that we didn't know then.
you know what? I know now to value my own time.
Yeah.
Where I never really thought about time having a value as my younger self, but now I truly value time. And my sister uses this expression that I've kind of picked up, but she'll say, like, before you agree to that, is the juice really worth the squeeze?
Right. Yeah.
And that's an expression that she uses, and I think, what I do ask myself that sometimes, like before just saying yes to something, is the juice worth the squeeze? And am I going to get enough out of that experience? Am I going to love it? Is my life better for going and pushing myself and maybe being a little tired because I ran over there and did that? Am I going to have enough fun? You know what I mean?
Or am I going to, feel like exhausted the next day? Am I going to be able to perform for something that's more important to me? For me, I still have to fight the tendency to not, to want to do it all. Yeah. Because that's kind of, I have a little bit of FOMO,
I do too.
I do, fear of missing out.
Yep.
And so I have to fight it, because you're not really missing out, or sometimes you may be missing out on something that is not like a big deal,
Right.
It's not the end of the world. So we're more selective.
Yeah.
And we have to, because this is a game of endurance.
It's
not a sprint.
It is, and I really feel like I just want to be so good at the shows I actually get and go to. Like the ones that I want to do, the ones that I get on, get put on, that I'm really excited about. I want to crush it at those. And and I know I need to budget my time a certain kind of way to be there, to feel good about what I'm bringing to it. You know what I mean? To have enough time to write, to work on my set, to get to the mics, to practice, to invest that time back into myself before having those shows where, it's all, and then but once a week, I'm lucky enough to have a daughter that goes to school not far away, like college. So my highlight of my week is meeting up with her. We grab a bite to eat and we FaceTime with my other daughter, during the visit. So
it's wonderful.
I mean, there's certain non-negotiable time periods of my life where I'm like, okay, this is what I'm doing. And that's definitely one of them. And then the day job is another. Yeah. And, the rest I have fun filling in between. But the rest are decisions. It's more of a,
eventually
balancing the time.
Kind of, devote more time to comedy. That'll be the only thing.
Yeah.
Well, unless we develop another passion for something else. Yeah. But, it's just you kind of process things, the experience of pursuing this passion, this, in our case, stand-up comedy.
Yes.
The experience is a little different, but not less fun.
No, I've been having the time of my life with this. This past, I'll tell you what, since starting, everybody I've known, friends of mine I've had for a long time and in my family. Yeah. they've noticed. They're like, this is the
And
happiest
also,
we've
we've
ever.
met so many other late bloomers.
I know. I'm like, but like, I mean, I'm told very consistently that this is the happiest I've ever been, and you know that I come across as being the happiest I've ever been, and I really
people
am
who-
though. I am. I'm
your
having
friends
like,
that have known you. For
oh
a long
yeah,
time.
my friends and my family. I mean, I've
Yeah.
had my friend Tracy over 30 years. I mean,
Yeah.
I just, all my friends are old friends. I keep my friends, but I do love my new friends
like
in
your
comedy.
friends.
I know
like
they
them.
love
They're
you too.
so supportive.
They love you too.
Yeah.
It's it's but the growing that circle through like meeting all of you guys like through comedy is well, what's more fun than standing around with a bunch of people and laughing? Like honestly, like there's not too many better ways to fill time.
My
So,
friends are supportive, although
Yeah.
they don't fully understand this because it's a whole lifestyle. The details for a civilian,
yeah,
which is what we call people who are not comedians. That their perspective is a little different. They're like, okay, well, again, you're going to a show or
Yeah.
an open mic
Yeah.
or to some event
Yeah.
or whatever, or a writers meeting or
yeah,
again. Didn't you do that like last night, like 2 days ago?
yeah.
They don't understand much,
No.
or they say, tell me next time you do it like here, but do it here. They don't realize that you don't get to
Yeah.
sometimes you don't get to pick unless you're producing shows near, but they all want to, people don't, and that's because our friends, well, they're usually our age and they're busy and they have families and
They're doing the balance.
yeah,
too,
they don't want to go far. That's the thing. So they say, well, I'll buy how many tickets, but is it here? Oh, no, I have to go to Center City. I have to go to Jersey. What? No. Now, tell me about the next one here. So, I understand. I understand. But we're loving it. And we have had a wonderful time on this 4th episode. We hope you have enjoyed it as well. And until the next time.
Hey, hold right there. Don't dare skip this. This is an important message. Me and my boy Albert Davis, we want to tell you about our podcast, Seriously Dad. Albert, why should they listen?
Because it's the best podcast in the world. It's by 2 comedians who are dads. And you know what we're talking about? Being dads. It's called Seriously Dad. Check us out on social media at Seriously Dad Podcast. And
Anywhere you get your podcast, that's where we're at. We're funny. We got some great guests coming our way. We cover the topics you want to hear. Check us out.
Hi, I'm International Man of Mystery Dan DePriel, and I'm one of the weekday comics. My friend Dave and I get paid to do comedy, believe it or not. But we're not allowed to tell all the jokes we want to tell. That's why we started this podcast. Join us every Tuesday at 8 p.m., where we're going to talk about the news of the day and tell a couple of jokes that we just don't feel comfortable telling on stage. Hey, we don't have careers, so who gives a weekday comics? Our podcast, where we give you the big bags of trash we were born to be and aren't allowed on the shows they pay us to do.
This has been a Drop Tent Media production.